So the next deputation that we have is in relation to the Heritage Reinstatement Program, the Gaiety Hall. We have Lyndon Graham, board member on behalf of the Akaroa Wairewa Community Board, and I understand Janice Haley might join him if she would like to.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Thank you for making the effort to come over.
Not far, we're used to that.
Yes.
I'd like to introduce Janice Haley as here in support of this, the Gaiety Hall, a fellow member of the Community Board. And I'm here today as Deputy Chairperson of the Community Board on behalf of Pam, who unfortunately is not able to be here. So I thank you for the opportunity to speak to you all. I'm here today as the Deputy Chairman, as I've said, and I'm seeking your support for a favourable decision on the post-earthquake repair and strengthening of the Gaiety Hall and approval of the funding for this work from the Infrastructure and Facilities Rebuild Allowance. Akaroa is a place of national significance. The entire centre of Akaroa is registered by the Historic Places Trust as an historic area in recognition of the large number of surviving 19th century buildings and includes a high number of colonial buildings that have been retained to this day. The Gaiety Hall, built in 1879, is a very important part of Akaroa's architectural history and is one of the most important surviving historic public buildings. It is at the entrance to the southern end of the township and sets the character of Akaroa. The Gaiety is also very important as a public building and is one of only 2 sites in Akaroa that can accommodate functions and gatherings of in excess of 100 people. It is essential to the well-being of our community, and I cannot emphasise strongly enough its importance to the people of Akaroa. These are only a few functions. Maybe I haven't swapped over 2 pages here, which I have. Sorry about that. Since the closure of the Gaiety, the annual Anzac service after function has been disrupted due to not having kitchen facilities and having to use the school gym and school home economic classroom, which means having to carry hot water, food to the gym. The Gaiety is a perfect venue and could also accommodate the services during inclement weather. There are always 2 very good antique fairs held during the year, both now finding it difficult to find a suitable venue large enough to accommodate that activity. Inquiries regarding weddings are already noted for March and September of this year, and also February and Easter weekends of 2015, along with a conference in April 2015. And no doubt there would be more if the venue was open for use. In 2011, there were 6 weddings prior to the hall closing. The annual music festival was a huge loss of income as it ran for most of January each year, and already inquiries have been made as to when they can return to the Gaiety. These are only a few functions that bring people into the town, which helps it economically, and of course many local events and celebrations used the hall as well as groups and clubs on a regular basis for meetings and other functions that form an integral part of Akaroa life. By providing a venue for the range of opportunities such as conferences, concerts, meetings, some of which I've already mentioned, it is a welfare centre for civil defence, and it has the ability to provide public toilet facilities which continue to be in short supply in the township, especially when special events are being held, such as cycle, harrier races and the cruise ship visits. Some years ago, when I applied for the position of County Clerk at Akaroa County Council, Akaroa was described to me as the jewel in the crown of Canterbury. And if that was the case, then the Gaiety stands as our starred jewel in the crown. It is a magnificent structure which has been and still is well loved by all our residents and tourists. It is essential to the well-being of our community. And I urge you, no, I plead with you today to favourably heed our request. I'd ask you to vote favourably to restore to us our much loved and frequently used building. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have we got any questions? Jimmy Chen.
Thank you, Mayor. One question. You, based on your presentation, you prefer to repair this Gaiety Hall, repair. Is the 67% or up to the 100%? I just want to listen to you. Staff recommendation is repair to the 67%.
Obviously 100%, because if you only do a little bit now, you're going to have to come back later and do a bit more. And surely you should perhaps bring it back up. It deserves being brought up to its former glory now. Is that the answer to your question?
Yes.
Thank you.
Pauline Cotter.
I'm just wondering, how many other community centres are there over there? I'm not that familiar. Is this the main one, or are there other meeting places?
Yes, there are. We have a community centre in Devotional, but it's very small. It caters for smaller meetings. It took us 3 years to get the Devotional Hotel rebuilt after the earthquakes, and it caters in that area for people. But the main thing is the Gaiety Hall has the character and standing for special events and large numbers of people.
Right, and you've got the Gaiety Trust and Friends. So does that trust take over the running of the hall?
You'll hear a little bit more about that, I think, in coming up following me.
Okay, so you're saying that it is very well patronised, and you foresee that it will be very well used.
Oh yes, indeed.
In the future.
Yes.
And it does have an income stream, obviously.
Yes.
Yep.
And you'll hear more about that, as I understand, later on. But that's why I'm here, because it is well used.
Great, thank you very much.
Sorry, I misread that. Did you have Dale Thomas as well to come to the table? Do you want to come up to the table as well? Sorry? It's a separate one. Yes. Okay. Oh, I see. Right, that's fine. No, it's okay. Sorry, I didn't mean for you to go away. Sorry, Andrew Turner.
Lynn, thank you for your presentation this morning. All very interesting. Now, you mentioned Devotional, which of course is geographically quite a long way removed from Akaroa. But I wondered whether you could just comment on the Gaiety in the context of other facilities in Akaroa which are damaged, which have affected the community.
Okay, there's, sorry, can you just repeat that? I didn't quite get the end.
Yeah, the Gaiety, of course, isn't the only facility, the only community facility which is damaged in Akaroa. There are others. I wondered whether you could just comment on the Gaiety in that context.
Okay, the big one, of course, is the museum, which has been put together using the parts of the building which are structurally sound, but it's still very, very small. And it too needs a little bit of attention, especially with the cruise ships coming in. They have nowhere to go, and they used to patronise the museum quite a lot. The Gaiety, of course, has been used for Singing with the Stars and a lot of concert-type functions, which we've got nowhere to go there now. No one can cater for that. I'm a marriage celebrant, so I'm a little bit interested in the wedding side of it. And there's really only one other rural centre that can actually cater for people of over 100 people. There's not many weddings today that are under 100. And Akaroa is a popular place for that activity.
It is. Well, I mean, Andrew, myself and Yanni Johansson had an opportunity to go through before Christmas, and it was actually quite heartening to see, the work that's been done there to sort of improve its appearance and readiness for a decision from us. So that's That's fine, thank you very much. So now I'd like to invite Dale Thomas to come to the table. Sorry, I didn't realise it was a separate deputation, but because it's on the same issue, I'll move on to Dale. Thank you very much, Linda.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Lyndon, for your information and to you for the opportunity to speak here today. I'm Dale Thomas, I'm President of the Gaiety Trust, and I'm here to speak as a lifelong local of Akaroa about the Gaiety, well, to tell her story, really. In 1876, a hall was being planned for the members of the Oddfellows Lodge. The Akaroa branch was called the Loyal Good Intent Lodge. And in their planning, they showed an example of their good intent by extending the size of the building so it could be used by everybody. They opened it with a grand ball for the whole community in 1879. For generations, gatherings were held there, club meetings, concerts, Anzac Day services, children's fancy dress, would you believe it, even roller skating. Don't know how they did that, but I know they wrecked the floor. Much of Akaroa's history can be seen through photos in our fine little museum of happenings in the Oddfellows Hall. When the movies became popular, T.E. Taylor purchased the complex and his granddaughter renamed it the Gaiety. And movies were shown to full houses almost every night. I remember them myself, clapping and yelling as the reels were changed or the projector broke down. It didn't matter, it was the place to be, the Gaiety. When I came to live permanently in our family batch in the 90s in Akaroa, the Gaiety had been taken over by our local council, and I was surprised and sad to see that it was barely used. No one would want to use it. It was boarded up, the walls were cracked, it was cold, full of junk, and overrun by smelly rodents. By chance, I met two women with the same sad feelings that I had about this, and our dream became to bring the fine old lady back to life and to give the community back its heart. To be brief, the three of us formed the Gaiety Trust, and we raised enough money to totally refurbish and renovate the whole complex from floor to ceiling, garden included, and much in between. She was looking splendid. My hobby quickly became putting on shows, functions, French festivals, balls, the popular open stage night. In a couple of years, I had put on 50 functions for the community, and we were having to turn people away. Heaps of fun. The events were keenly looked forward to, and then other people started hiring the Gaiety from the council themselves. People like the Court Theatre, Dave Dobbin, the New Zealand Ballet. There were weddings, lots of weddings. My own two children were married or had their receptions in the Gaiety. It was hard to get a booking. Anything major that happens in the community was held there. She is, as Lyndon said, our only large public building for Akaroa and the Bays. The Gaiety had become not only a venue for clubs and meetings, but a cause for pride in our community, and a draw card for people outside of Akaroa to come to our little village. Following the Oddfellows' example of good intent, of providing a vibrant community centre again, the Gaiety Trust felt that their goal had been realised. And like the rest of the town, we were pleased and proud of the results. Then the quakes hit. New codes to comply with. The doors were closed and the locks were changed. Investigating engineers ripped her apart and left her in a disrespectful mess, exposed, open to decay and to rodents. Akaroa and her friends are heartbroken to see the deterioration that is taking place through neglect. A key element of our historic streetscape has become a source of shame rather than pride. Added to that is the loss that we feel with no place to gather, to support each other, and to host visitors and have fun. It's as if our community's fallen apart, and it's truly depressing. What now needs doing to bring her back is far beyond what volunteers can do. We need help. I do feel hopeful that our situation is being understood by the council and that help is close. The Gaiety Trust wants the council to know that all money from the events that the trust holds and from our funding applications goes into our Gaiety account. We have always used it to work with the council and provide what is outside council scope. We are keen to give every assistance we can to see the Gaiety reopen. Our love for the Gaiety is strong, as is our commitment to continue our care and fundraising when she is up and running again. We so very much look forward to seeing that good intent of the original Oddfellows in action again for our community and our fine old lady. May it be soon. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for a very powerful presentation. I hope, I mean, you've seen inside it now, haven't you? Yeah, so it's much improved from what you've described. And
true, a temporary clean-up did happen, which we were very grateful for.
Yeah, yes. but I understand the effect that it's having on the whole community, and I think we all do. So, has anyone got any questions? Pauline.
Thank you. That was very moving, and I do appreciate how you feel about it. It looks just like a beautiful building, and I can see how it could be such an integral, central part of your community. And just a question, when you mentioned that you actually restored the whole thing, what year was that? I don't know if you said that, but I missed it.
It was at, I suppose you call it the turn of the century, 2000, 99 and 2000 that we did that.
It's not that long ago. And the other thing is, you mentioned volunteers. Do you have much skilled labour there who might be willing to help? It's just a kind of a thought to maybe get the community involved in some of this work. But how would you feel about that? Indeed.
The Gaiety Trust was just us three ladies, but since we have formed Friends of the Gaiety, FROG we call ourselves, which is a group of something like 30 or 40 people, and they're all there. They always help with functions or whatever needs doing in the Gaiety. That's their purpose. But I just know the Gaiety is so much loved that help could be found easily for what you're speaking about, yes.
Yes, because the costing there for the painting alone is $92,000, and sometimes communities do have skilled labourers that might be able to, but that's a conversation that if you're willing to have it, it could be had.
Yes, it is definitely a conversation that we should have. We want to be part of it.
You'd want to be part of it.
Yes.
I think it's a good thing.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Tim Scandrett.
Many years ago, I was a road manager for a tour of Sweet Charity, and one of the two places in New Zealand that really sticks in my mind was the Gaiety Hall in Akaroa. We turned up at 4 in the morning, and the bakers came across the road to make sure that we were legally there. And then about 6 in the morning, they came back with breakfast, and that community spirit was in the Gaiety Hall while we were there, and it was absolutely wonderful. We got, I think I put on about a stone. But, thank you.
You've got it. That's how it is. Yes.
Ellie Jones.
Sorely missed. Sorely missed.
You've mentioned visitors to Akaroa, and I know that Michelle Acort's performed in the Gaiety Hall,
yes.
and I wonder whether you could expand a little more on the number of people and the types of performances and attractions they bring to Akaroa coming into the Gaiety, because I think that's a very important part of the community, and showing Akaroa to people from outside of the area too. What sort of performers and visitors do you have, and have you had to the hall?
Yes, we make quite a lot of use of the Arts on Tour program that allows us to bring things at a reasonable cost, because we're always into making a profit. I must say, we have always made a profit, the Gaiety Trust have, for the Gaiety in anything we put on. So they are drama shows, music shows. We have a system where very often we have the table set out and people bring their own food and wine, and it's just like, someone actually said to me, it's like being in our living room, and that's what it is. And the performers from out of town who come are absolutely amazed that people coming in with their picnic baskets, and they also love the acoustics of the building, but really it's the whole mood of it, and they come back. Are there any other questions?
There appear to be none. Thank you very much for your presentation. I suggest we move to the item number 13 on the agenda, and perhaps Richie Moyle could join us at the table.